Today we're going to look at some of my favorite fragrances, a few designer, a few niche, and we're going to be comparing them with a clone or alternative or dupe that I would say is so good that you don't actually need the original. Now the caveat with that is anytime you get a dupe or an alternative, they're pretty much never going to be one-to-one. There's going to be some differences, usually a quality difference often, or little nuances that you can pick out if you're familiar enough with. However, I have a lot of dupes or clones, whatever you want to call them, and I would say these here are some of the ones that are closest, or at least they are on the level that I would say that I would recommend. You don't even need to get the original. So we're going to get into this list. Before we do, remember to subscribe if you haven't done that yet, and also consider giving an authentic original click to the like button if you like the video, and let me know in the comments which of these have you tried and what do you think about them. All right, let's begin with one I've talked about quite a bit lately. And that's just because it's one of my favorite fragrances, period. And we are heading into the cold weather that is perfect for this one right here, Lancome Elixir. This is an absolutely beautiful vanilla, mint, lavender in the opening, and then tobacco, honey, vanilla in the mid and the dry down. It's one of those rich, sweet fragrances, but it does have some maturity with that tobacco, a little bit of sort of the darker, more complex notes that I think make it a suitable fragrance no matter what your age is. This one is amazing. It's one of the best in the line for sure, but I would say, even though I've tried a few different dupes of this fragrance, if you get a hold of this one right here from Lancome The Kingdom, you really don't need the original. It's not that they are identical, but they are very, very close. And I would say the quality of this one, The Kingdom, is just off the charts. And it smells so very good. I actually prefer the opening in the Lancome to the Lancome. And the transition between opening, mid, dry down matches between the two. It's just such an incredible alternative. And it's going to be in the low $30 range, an awesome price. So check this one out, Lancome The Kingdom, and even though I think you should support designer houses, you could kind of skip the OG in this instance. All right, another one that was very surprising to me. I absolutely loved this next fragrance. I would say it's like the quintessential fall fragrance. It just works so well, and it's very masterfully blended. It's an update on a 30-year-old or probably 40-year-old DNA at this point. I'm talking about Dior Fahrenheit Parfum, and this is a bit of a twist on Fahrenheit, that violet leaf leather kind of petrol kind of accord with also some rum and vanilla. This fragrance is a little bit sweeter and a little bit more appealing or mass-pleasing, and again, that combo in the fall, even the winter, it's just one of the best options for this time of year. And surprisingly, Fragrance World's dupe, which I don't know if you can tell what they are cloning, but this one right here, Reinheit Parfum, not only does the bottle resemble the original very closely, the fragrance does as well. There is a quality difference. I find with Dior, as far as designer houses go, they're going to be top-notch quality most of the time. And there's a quality difference, but as far as smelling them side by side, you can honestly barely tell them apart. I would say the Dior has this one beat in performance, but this one still got great performance. So again, Reinheit Parfum from Fragrance World. You could kind of skip the $160 original if you're going to pick up this one. All right, another one from Dior, another that I would categorize as kind of a masterpiece like the last one that I showed you. Very well known at this point, very popular, Dior M Intense. And it is a beautiful iris and musky, woodsy, kind of sweet. There's a little bit of kind of a warm sweetness mixing with that iris as well. It is a great fragrance for fall and winter if you like that waxy lipsticky iris, because this one features it front and center. It's iconic at this point for very good reason. But really, if you wanted to get something at about a third of the price, maybe even a quarter of the price, you could go with Al Wataniya's Kion Classic, and this one is going to almost get you there. It is just as long lasting or possibly longer lasting than the Dior. And again, even though the quality is not quite on the level of the Dior, it is close, and the fragrance profiles are so very similar you can actually barely tell them apart. Again, a great option right here, Kion Classic from Al Wataniya. Next up, we'll go with this one right here. I think one of the best spring fragrances, but really all year round, every situation, super versatile, mass-pleasing, compliment magnet. I'm talking about Nishan Hot. Of course, this is a niche fragrance, but it's one that a lot of people can wrap their heads around and appreciate, even if niche isn't their thing. It's also a fragrance you can often get for just slightly above $100 for the 50 ml. It's an extrait de parfum, super powerful, long-lasting. It's basically a fruity, green, aromatic patchouli fragrance. The patchouli is a real standout, and that green note sets it apart from other similar fragrances like, say, Creed Aventus or Manera Intense. It's just an excellent choice, but if you want something that's going to get you very, very close, and I would say something that you could pick up instead of the Nishan, it's going to be this one right here, Rasi Haas Black. This stuff is a new release from Rasi, and it is very close to Nishan Hot. I would say there are some differences. There might be a little more sweetness in the opening of the Rasi, and there may even be a touch more earthiness in this one than there is in the Nishan. That's coming from the patchouli. But side by side, all in all, I would say this is so close to the original that even if you can pick out some nuances that are different, they are on par as far as the experience that you have wearing them. This one is potentially extrait de parfum. I think they call it a parfum concentration, but it's an EDP, but it is thick, oily, very dense concentration, and it lasts a very long time as well. The Nishan is next day kind of performance. This one is easily 10 hours. It may be a lot longer than that. I just haven't tested past then. But again, Rasi Haas Black, a great option for Hasavat. And then finally, I'm going to mention one that is a flanker of one of my favorite Manera fragrances. I'm talking about Manera Intense Red Tobacco. And red tobacco in general was, in my opinion, one of the most unique, powerful, groundbreaking, spicy, dark, insane tobacco fragrances of all time. It and this one, the Intense, are just, they are powerful, spicy, sweet, dark, slightly oudy tobacco fragrances. They're sort of notorious for that. And although currently I just have the Intense Red Tobacco, I would say that the red tobacco DNA in general was captured shockingly well by this one right here from Paris Corner, actually. This is Emir Wild and Tobacco. And so the Intense that I showed you from Manera has a smooth leather note, and it's a little bit of a smoother fragrance than the original, but it's pretty close to the original red tobacco. I would say this one right here, if you just want something that's going to get you very close to red tobacco and even pretty close to Intense red tobacco, this thing is amazing. It's super close to red tobacco. I would say the opening is the biggest difference. This one is a little sweeter in the opening and not quite as abrasive, ashy, oudy as the original red tobacco. But once they start to dry down, this one is going to get you so close, and it's going to almost perfectly match the wearing experience as the Manera fragrances, you could pretty much pick this one up and skip the original, although I do think Manera is a great house and one that's definitely worth supporting. So that's been 10 fragrances, 5 originals, 5 clones, and these are alternatives that I think you could get instead of the originals. I've got a video coming out in the next day or two where I'm going to show you some original fragrances and dupes where I would say you kind of need to get the original on this one because this dupe does not quite cut the muster, as they say, or does not quite do the job, doesn't measure up. And so stay tuned for that one. Let me know in the comments which of these have you tried and what do you think. And remember to give an original, genuine, authentic OEM click to the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm Justin. This is Sillage Scents.